get paid, what car you own, but how little you need to make a big difference. And that's when everybody became a curator. So we already have graffiti grannies workshop, said one municipality member when I approached her 10 years ago with the first idea of creating street art museum. Street art became a pet name for any project which involved social participation of lower classes or marginalized communities, and in many cases replaced craft workshops with spray paint exercise. And everyone organizing the festival or producing an event became a street art curator. The reason for this escalation of self-appointed specialists is, in my humble opinion, the fact that the art form came from DIY culture, inspiring, curious, and empowering, where everyone is a creator and you do not need one's permission to be so. Very similar to Dada, Fluxus, and Cobra, and equally ephemeral. Ultimately, street art made graffiti sounded better, easier to explain to people and administrative forces of any municipality, smoother to sell it to brands for acquiring the urban look or achieving corporate social responsibilities KPIs. In the last 3 years, we have noticed the growing trends. Municipality members and projects responsible visit Sama for advice on creating a safari park, just like ours, but in their own city. And in some cases, neighboring neighborhoods or in Amsterdam come for advice. Brands reach out more and more with requests to make impact on community or tailor-made team building workshop. Art and culture budgets being released towards street art initiatives. It's not a smelly neighbor anymore. Urban art fairs bringing in each city connected to some gentrification plan with specific communities. Street art, urban art, graffiti museums aiming at historical side of the movement as it becomes legitimized. And research contribution requests from bachelor, master's, and PhD students, as well as direct requests for Sama to write papers, lectures, and advice. European sponsorships for programs such as STAR. In the last year alone, we were approached at least 6 times to become partner in some or other EU-related project to street art. However, police, for example, still do not differentiate graffiti from street art. It is illegal. It is punishable if done without permission, no matter how beautiful, resourceful, or community giving it is. Hence, the emerging science in order to respect the first. These days, there are foundations like Sama, which take on a role of Heritage Action Unit, tasking ourselves with responsibility for giving credits and respect to the original pure form of this powerful art genre, a contemporary communication tool, and most importantly, grassroots participatory empowering movement, a cultural revolution, one might say. At Sama, we are busy with getting registered as a formal museum. And as my team of researchers found out, the Netherlands might not be the best country to do so because the laws are object-driven and street art is ephemeral. It's not an object. In order to marry the stakeholders, the benefits, and the collection, we found a way around. As it happens, on the brink of every century, technology changes everything. What was still a dream in 2016 has completely become a reality in 2020. This year, we were commissioned by prestigious heritage and culture participation organization, Imagine IC, to help them to document, archive, and record a memory capsule in virtual reality. My dream of 5 years has become true. Ability to low-costly record and produce the monumental architectural structure in 3D before it gets demolished. The participatory process which was used made me think of the next generation way of preserving works in public space. This is exactly how I would like to make my milkmaid to be remembered. Hence, Museum 2.0 and all the work that comes around it over the next 1.5 years. Ideal scenario? Well, when the aliens land on Earth, long after everyone and everything is gone, they will find a steampunk-looking rusty old tin. Inside the tin is a Samsung 5 Plus Galaxy tablet and an HDD. And this means that even if the cloud blows up, the aliens can still see the record in 3D or what we did that summer and hear the story of us. Thank you very much. I hope I made my 15 minutes.
Thank you, Anna. You are perfectly on time. Thank you also for this. That actually is really important. I just give the floor to Elisabetta for a technical information.
Yes, thank you, Nadia. Just quickly saying that happily, unexpectedly, and strangely, we reached the maximum number of participants for this meeting. So we will try to get the people in queue admitting by time. In any case, as I said before, the registration will be available afterwards. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elisabetta, for this clarification. So let's move on with the second speech with Mattia Campodall'Orto. She is an urban ASTIR, worked with public institutions, NGOs for cultural projects. He runs workshops with children, disabled people, and refugees, and also is, correct me if I'm wrong, Mattia, you are a researcher on contemporary subculture, graffiti, and street art in Trieste University. Please, Mattia, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Let me start with a short video. Wait, sorry.
You have to share the.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you for watching. So this was a short video resuming briefly part of an activity that I've done in northern Iraq when I came back to Kurdistan for a second time. And this video introduces my my topic, as to say street art, or better to say urban art, in my opinion, as a tool to fight against social exclusion and marginalization. So as Nadia already said, I'm well, an artist, and I started 23 years ago painting graffiti, but then, let's say, I got more and more interested in the participatory processes and how art can be a tool to give a voice to some communities, to let emerge doubt, critical points in some areas or societies. So my speech will mainly focus on some experiences, personal experiences that I made thanks to my organization, Associazione Macros, based in Italy. And thanks to this short gallery selection of artworks and projects, I wish to demonstrate how it's possible using urban art to bring to the surface some issues and possibly some solutions. Well, so let me share the screen again, and let's through the presentation. Yeah. So I hope you can all see the presentation. Well, I just slightly changed the title of my presentation using urban art instead of street art, because as Anna said, the studies on the topic are insufficient, are not enough, and for sure there is a lot of chaos about the correct terminology. I prefer urban art that is more generic and not pointing out a specific kind of urban intervention. Let's go through this first example. This is a wall I painted in Trieste in 2015. It was a wall for the International Day for the Refugees, and it depicts a group of people. The title is "What if I lose everything? What if I lose everyone?" And it focuses on empathy. Empathy towards the refugees. Back in the days, it was already a hot topic, the refugee crisis, and I wanted to keep it dramatic as it is. So the situation, we got to first of all analyze the context. The situation is a new building that is mainly inhabited by foreigners that came to Italy recently. Trieste is a city on the border with Slovenia, and back in the days it was right on the border with the so-called Iron Curtain. So a very delicate scenario where discrimination is still a big topic, and a city that is a passage for people escaping from wars, for example, from the wars from the former Yugoslavia. So here we have some details, and what I wanted to point out was to reflect on the identity of the people, on the possibility that the luck we have as a society, as a stable society, not experiencing wars recently. Well, I wanted to emphasize the feeling that we might feel if we put in the shoes of the refugees and we think about losing everything and losing everyone, exactly as the refugees often experience. A second mural I want to present was painted in Naples in a completely different neighborhood, quite stigmatized and marginalized place in the suburbs of Naples. So what I've done here was to arrive in this neighborhood and simply start to interview people, taking pictures of the neighborhoods. This was useful to develop the concept, but first of all, to understand who are the people that I'm meeting. What are the main characteristics of the neighborhood I'm sorry. Okay. The mobile was ringing. So I try to depict the part of the community here, so using the residents as models to emphasize the main role of education, of reading. So trying to focus on the power of imagination, on the power of wondering of children. So the children can look themselves as adults, referring to the models they have around, but imagining themselves also different. And at the same time, there is a kind of feedback. So the older people can imagine themselves or remember themselves when they were younger. Now I bring you to a kind of different project that is more recent, and it's all about art residency. We, together with the municipality for Chromopolis project, we selected and invited 4 artists. These images are come from the first part of the residency. They lived in Trieste, in this case, and visited the city for 1 week. They painted together on small canvases that were donated to the municipality. But above all, they had the opportunity for a week to understand the context and the critical points of Trieste, the relationships inside the community of the city. Well, then they came back for a second residency 2 months later, and they had the opportunity to create a big mural. This was a model, and let me show you further projects. This was painted in Utrecht, in the Netherlands, for example, after a 2 months residency. that I spent there in a very delicate context where a lot of young people, starters, so-called starters, live right next to a building that is mainly inhabited by elderly that are more or less assisted by the social service. So Mirror of Return, the title of this artwork, indicates the relationship between old people and young people. And actually, I spent these 2 months trying to understand the conflict between the young people and the elders, and then trying to finally point out the trait d'union, the fil rouge that links young people and elderly. Let's go to another situation that is in Greece, where this neighborhood was mainly created for to host refugees coming from Turkey. And here I had the chance to spend a week in Volos and finally paint this mural that reflects many elements that I found out in that local community. So I really had the chance through this artwork to let the people, the residents, mirror themselves in some tradition that they preserve. So identity is fundamental to reduce marginalization and let people, especially young people, be proud of what they are and the place they live, in order to let them change what they don't like. Here is, for example, a small workshop to let young people, students in this case, participate to the creation of a big mural. This is again northern Iraq, a wall that I painted again, trying to evaluate the identity of Kurdish in the north of Iraq. And this is a particular project in another refugee camp in a school. As you can see, the school is not a building, it's just a series of containers. And I painted it with the help of the kids, but above all, it was important to develop the concept together with the young people, the local young people. And the same happened here in another refugee camp, with using the young people also as models, and they helped me painting the wall itself. And finally, again, workshops and visits while I'm painting. Here, one of my latest works in the south of Italy, again, a very difficult neighborhood. So we were wondering here the meaning of being a young person in a disadvantaged, a socially excluded neighborhood. So the artwork was really a way to let the community gather and let the children reflect on their possibilities, so they don't think that their lives will be well. They don't think they stop believing that they are condemned to live the same life as the older ones. And finally, an artwork on it's about the gender equality and respect. So we can see here that through mural art and urban art, we can send a message of social responsibility, even a positive message, even if we face a dramatic topic as the violence against women. So that's it. I really invite you to visit my website and my social media pages, and I'm open to questions later on. I really hope that I was able to give you an insight of a socially committed way of making art in public spaces. Thank you.
Thank you, Mattia, for your speech. It was really interesting and inspiring, and also really specific. You give us a clear idea of the social community that art and street art can pursue in public space, and especially in stigmatized areas, and involving and also involving vulnerable groups. Let's move on with the third artist. His name is 2501. He's a really polyhedric and visionary Italian artist. I can say known worldwide. He basically traveled the world with his social committed artworks, mainly murals, but not only. He also involved in challenging himself in sculpture, photography, and even documentary. The last documentary project is called Nomadic Experience that he will present to us while talking about urban regeneration and street art. Please, 2501, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you. So I'm here today to try to introduce my experience in the last 10 years in painting around the world, in festival and in social project. And so I will start sharing my screen and speaking a little bit about what I was seeing and how the project around the world are differently built to try to use new muralism as a form of as the key to try to regenerate areas and to try to make a communion with the community and be positive in a certain way. So the things during the last 10 years had drastically changed because, of course, at the beginning, the beginning festivals and project were totally made from young people or young organization. And while this phenomenon of the new muralism have grown around the world, we have seen so many people start to curating and organizing festival. And of course, the level of commitment is not always the same. And also the clear vision of how to enter a community and how to work with a community in a real positive way and constructive way is not always the same. So, for example, here is one of the first festival I've been invited in Italy in 2010, and that's Infart Festival. That's made by the city of Bassano del Grappa with the help of a community of young people that was trying to, let's say, bring inside the city a new kind of movement, or like, let's say, to try to make Bassano a little bit more vibrant. So we have like this classical kind of festival where young people from a community try to change a bit the idea of their city. So that's, I think, is one of the more, as a model, is one of the more pure, I think, because it's always bring from a young community that is trying to change a bit the environment where they are living. And then, for example, these are all festivals from 2010. So also my style has been changing along the way. So you're gonna see also the change of what I was painting. What I'm doing is not really painting things that are political. I'm an abstract painter. I born as a graffiti writer, and basically I was I did the School of Cinema, so I come from the video, and I'm just like using the painting as an excuse to enter the community. As you said before, big part of my research is on another site that is called nomadicexperiment.com, and is about filming. So the painting part is just like a key to try to enter the community, and then through the video part, trying to explain what is going on in this community and which are the mechanisms that allowed people to enter community and trying to do some changing in it. So basically the last 10 years we have been working all around USA, and we have been working in Palestine for 3-4 times. We have been working in South America pretty extensively, and we always have been recording and kind of producing small documentaries about the communities where the people can kind of express what their needing are and what the problematics inside those neighborhoods or cities are, etc. So then I will show some videos about it. That was just to clarify how I use the tool of painting to then try to tell the stories behind the community. Another really interesting and old project I was doing is this project with a completely different style from 2010 in Gdańsk in Poland. That's a neighborhood that is really near to the Solidarność shipyard. So like let's say a place that have a really have a really big meaning for the people of Poland, for the born of the Solidarność movement. And this is let's say totally another type of festival. It's like a festival where the city is involved directly, so where it's not anymore young people that are trying to change, or they are trying to do something directly from dal basso, as we said in Italian, so let's say from the bottom. But this is a festival where the city is directly involved, and so where the mechanisms are kind of different, and sometimes you have to discuss what you're painting, or where the beautification of a neighborhood enter the equation. So it's a little bit more difficult to be sure 100% that what you are doing and what you are painting is it's really entering the community in the right way. I have to say that in that specific project, the organizers were really involved in the communities from long time. So basically from 8-9 years. So that was, let's say, a kind of guarantee of the possibility of having a real dialogue with the people and trying to understand what they want also to see, because we don't have to forget that a monumental mural like this one will influence the view of the people every day for a long time. I'm not really a person that thinks that a big mural like this should be there forever. I'm not a big fan of the restoration of mural. I think that muralism, specifically new muralism, or how it's called worldwide, street art, or whatever you want to call it, is not an art that is meant to be there forever, but is an art that speaks about time, and is an art that is meant to disappear. Because let's not forget that most powerful part of this kind of project is not really the aesthetical output that comes from a painting, but is more like the idea of being able to change, the idea of being able to change your neighborhood, the idea of movement, the inspiration that can give to the community more than the final output at the end of the day. This one is a really, I'm just scrolling through my site because it's not really possible to show all the works, so I'm just choosing the most interesting. That's Baltimore, USA. That's a big festival that was organized for 5 years from artists, specifically from a really famous American artist that is called Gaia, that is living in Baltimore. Baltimore, as everybody knows, is a really difficult city. Is let's say the suburbs are really tough suburbs. There are racial problems, and this festival is interesting because Gaia is involved in the city since almost 10 years. Also, if it's from New York, it's like more than 10 years that he's living in Baltimore, and is really involved with, for example, with Black Lives Matter. That's like really a hot topic right now. And I want to show you this festival because this festival is organized by artists. So it's a festival that really focuses its attention to where to place work, and how to relate with the community, and how to organize such a big intervention in a city where certain kind of topics are really important. So for example, this work was made to focus on this little spot that wasn't used for several years, and now this spot, the mural is not anymore there, and this spot had become like a sort of playground for kids and teenagers. So my work was used to kind of point out to this empty area. And we had workshop there. We had even barbecues there for all the time of the realization of this mural, to focalize the attention of how this empty area was not used as it can be used from the city. Of course, it's a public area, from the city and from the community. And we reached the goal after the festival to use the area, to make the city using the area. So that's another example of how you can, let's say, organize a festival. So I'm seeing that the minutes, I'm almost finishing my intervention. So I would like to show you this little video that's part of a project, a crowd-funded project that I do that I did with a friend and muralist that is called Pastel from Argentina, from Buenos Aires. He's also an architect. So what we have done is was to making non-authorized installation in the neighborhood of Wynwood, that is one of the central neighborhood of Miami, where, let's say, in the last 10 years during Miami Art Basel, all the artists around the world have been meetings, and of course there was like a big gentrification in this neighborhood. So let's say those patrons of art and street art were buying buildings, and were trying to doing the same things with Wynwood as they did with Soho in New York. And of course they were succeeding on this process. And so this is like there are 4 short documentary that told a little bit the stories and told a little bit what are the danger of painting in neighborhood big murals, and what the danger of artists associating with big organization or small organization in some of these hot area where they are trying, let's say, to gentrificate neighborhood. So I'm gonna just play this little video. Let me just, sorry. Sec. I'm hoping you're seeing it.
We're not seeing anything.
Jacopo? Hey.
Lo vedete?
No, we cannot see anything.
Sorry, so just give me a sec.
Try to leave it like this.
Because he's saying that I'm sharing the screen. I'm trying to leave it like this. Can you see it?
Yes, now we can see it and listening.
Yes. Just don't full screen.
So I'm sorry, I'm gonna start it again from the beginning. I'm sorry for the technical issue.
Renting, and not owning, in a 10 square block area from North Miami Avenue to Northwest 2nd Avenue, from 20th Street Northwest to 29th Street Northwest. You're absolutely fucked. All my friends are leaving. The new ones that are coming, I can't afford them. I don't speak the language called money. Who really cares? Come on, man. Welcome to the real Wynwood.
So I think my time is over. Basically, that was an interview by one of the guys that was living in Wynwood and lost his house. And he was basically homeless on the street for almost 2 years when we met him by chance. And basically that's was the project. So we kind of give voice to people that we met in the street. I'm really I really thank you for the time that you gave me to show some of my project. I invite you to look my site that is called nomadicexperiment.com, and thanks a lot.
Thank
Hello?
you, 2501. Thank you for joining this webinar and bringing your contribution to the discussion. Especially, it was really interesting, and thank you for shed the lights on the, I would say, the contradiction of the perception of the relation between street art and urban regeneration, as you said. So it was interesting, your opinion, and thanks for also raising consideration and also provocation about the gentrification and the using street art in the urban regeneration process. Let's move to the last speech with Claudio and Christian from Mioveni in Romania. Claudio and Christy will talk about us cities' participation, democratic engagement using street art. Specifically, they will emphasize the importance and the power of street art as a self-expression tool of citizens and also citizen culture and also, let's say, city feelings. Please, guys, the floor is yours.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be part in this project. And I have to say that this is a good time to be part of this project, especially like 2501 said, with what's happening in the world with racism and everyone stepping up to fight it. I'm going to start my presentation now. Hopefully it will work perfectly. Okay. Is it okay?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so we're going to talk about involving citizens and street art initiatives. First of all, I was going to show you a small video about Mioveni, but it's not really relevant to street art. I'm just going to say a few things. The city of Mioveni is an industrial city. We're home to one of the biggest Dacia Renault plants in the world. We've been producing automobiles since 1969, and that's what helped us to develop our city. Basically, without it and another industrial platform, we would be probably a village. We've developed in the communist period, and Mioveni is basically the stereotypical Eastern European block city full of gray apartment buildings. The local council and the local administration has this tradition going ever since I was a child, perhaps even before I was a child, on Children's Day, they close roads in the city center and allow children to express themselves, to draw on the street. Sadly, this is temporary, and people might say that it's not an important aspect of street art, but I consider that it is, because this is some future artist's first contact with his canvas, let's say this, and it's a way for him to express himself. Maybe through this project, we're going to inspire people in our city to come out as street artists, because there's a lot of graffiti in Mioveni and in the areas around Mioveni. And as we know, for example, in Romania, when people see your art, they might appreciate it, but as soon as they see you did it with a spray, they think you're a vandal, sadly. I think that you shouldn't have done that. It's not good. Even if you're a great artist and you drew something wonderful. So with this project, this might be a kickstart to something a lot bigger. Like I said, this is the typical Eastern European bloc portrayal. Gray areas, not a lot of vegetation, gray giant buildings, no colors, and adding to this, working 9 to 5 in a industrial plant, which is also very monotonous, very boring. I think that it could lead to a lot of mental issues, maybe even depression. So trying to help out the local community with providing some interesting areas in the city would be great for them. Happily, as you can see in the next slide, our city has taken steps to look better than the typical Eastern European bloc. Unlike most cities, most medium to large cities in Romania, we have a bit of green, but as you can see, this is the what you can see here is the city center, and what you can see in the background, which is almost as big as Mioveni's largest neighborhood, is the Dacia industrial platform. So yeah, around 30,000 people work there from all around from all around Argeș County, and Renault is actually interested in this, as you'll see later on. I talked about the gray of the Eastern European bloc buildings. Okay, so over the years, so considering that the buildings are relatively new, like I say here, 1975 to the 1990s, they have been renovated, and people have chosen to abandon the old white or gray, well, gray, not white, colors, and you can see shades of, like I said, yellow, orange, pink, blue. Then this is a plus, because we're an industrial city, like I said, we're not a touristic city. For example, Brașov or Sibiu, which are two major touristic cities in Romania, have very strict rules about how you can decorate your house, your building's facade, and things like that. There's nothing like that here. If we want to make street art project, and if the people living in that building will allow us and want it, it should be very okay to do. And judging by this tentative to bring a bit more color in their life by ditching the old gray, I think that most of the people will be open to this. And my colleague, Cristi, has a pretty good question to our population, to the city's population, and I think we can all guess the answer to it anyway. So I'll let Cristi carry on.
All right. So I may start my or if Claudio can help me. Like you can go to the slides.
Yes.
So I will
Yes.
have to start my share screen too.
Yes.
All right. So I'm very involved in my city, and I went past every people and I asked them, like doing some polls, asking them if they would like to see street art bigger than what it is in this moment. And for example, we showed them this picture. This is not from Mioven. We just found it on internet, but we wanted to see the reaction of people, like just asking them, like, how would you feel if you could wake up in the morning and beside your window is this? They were very excited about it, like 70% of them. And what are we trying to do? It's from this project, from the START project, to materialize this kind of murals. Because as we say in the presentation, the answer is simple, and some are already given it more indirect way, as a group of artists have already been hired to work on several buildings, such as schools, kindergartens, or even Dacia Renault car manufacturing plant, which you can see in the next slide. This, like in the right corner, this is a building, this is the canteen of Dacia manufacturing. A group of artists was hired up to paint that building in their way. And this is a great example of Dacia Renault that is involved in the street art and encourages this kind of art. And in the left side and in the right corner up, this is a primary school and also a high school where I used to teach art. I was a teacher in that. I was a teacher in that building, and together with a few students, we proposed to the director of the school. By their idea, they wanted something to be painted on the school because the wall, they considered it boring and they wanted much more color. We proposed it to the director. He agreed, and together, me with the students, a few of them, we started to paint it, and I think something great happened. Moving on to the next slide. So, Dacia Renault, potential partner in street art. In the last slide, you saw their involvement. But now, considering how important Dacia is to the community, as its main economic actor and judging by its current take on art, due to the presence of street art inside the plant and other events organized, it will be incredibly good for Mioven if we could manage in the future to get them to help out with projects piloted by the STAR project. Because Mioven has a lot of potential and a lot of empty spaces to paint. And for example, we have organized where people could graffiti and express themselves using one of Mioven's most important symbols, a Dacia 1300. So it was like a performance where people could come and get involved in it. Like this was for the citizens. They just could come and do whatever they wanted on the car, like make it beautier, paint it as you feel, as you can express yourself. And it was a success. And by the next slide, I want to give another example of people wanting street art in Mioveni. We have this commission piece of work where people wanted a bit more color in their life. And the team led by myself was happy to carry it out. We still have projects we're working on in the city and in Romania, but I remember a few days ago, a man just came to me, just gave me a call and explained me that he's sick of the gray he has in his garden, and if me and my team could help him with it. And of course we did it, as you can see in this slide. Right now we have from a past project. This is a fast forward clip of our way we work in the spray. Claudio?
I think we have some issues with the video.
Does it work?
We'll just go over.
All right. This is another example of street art in Mioveni. In left corner is a piece from the previous video we couldn't play, but that's a piece from the wall. And in the left corner up and in the right, people wanted from a local, yeah, it is from a local gym. The owner wanted some Marvel characters or muscle characters inside his gym to motivate the people who come there to give them some workout, to train themselves. And moving on to the next slide. This is from the gym. More projects on the way.
So as you can see, the demand for street art exists in Mioveni, and this is a great project for us to be a partner in, because we can make it more visible on a local level, and the community apparently wants to get involved. So thank you again for this opportunity. I'll let Christy continue.
As I said, Mioveni has a lot of potential. We want to use STAR project to get people involved in the street art, because we can do that and they are curious and they want to do it. Me and my team, we are here to help, and also we want to help other artists to get involved maybe in this project or in other projects, because street art is a real thing. It's a culture, and we have to promote this in Romania too. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Christian, Claudio, for your speech, and also for being partner of this project and bringing passion and energy into the project and also into this international debate. I just would like to open a quick wrap-up session and share with you some questions published on Mural. Specifically, we have one question for Anna and another one for 2501. I will start with you, Anna. So Sasso is asking, what can be learned from places like Bogota, where street art has become a part of the culture in comparison to more Northern European countries where art in public space is not much integrated? And I can kindly ask you to give a 3 minutes reply.
I think it's going to be a bit less because I'm quite categorical on Bogota. Bogota has a good side and a bad side, of course, because Bogota used street art in order to change its image as a welcoming touristic country rather than drug cartel and a dangerous place to travel. It dramatically increased the tourism because from festivals to artists, funds were released. My milkmaid is a result of Bogota policies because it was a Vertigo Graffiti crew with El Pez that had a plan to travel around Europe and paint 9 walls promoting Colombian culture with the local culture. And the idea was that in every city they would paint a large mural which is visible, connecting the two cultures. So this kind of funding policies, of course, impacted the image of Bogota around the world and connected organizations such as ours to the city. The critical side to Bogotan policy is the chaotic, unsustainable, uncohesive pollution of the city with decorative murals. Yeah, and then if you ask artists that in my collection, the ones I respect, the authentic originators, such as Stinkfish or Bastardilla, you will not see those murals. You will see their work in lesser visible parts of the city. So that's why I think we can learn from every city, not just Bogota, on the goods and bad sides of using street art, as I say, as a new quinoa. Because I don't know a single city right now that could say, yeah, well, I have a best use case example of the practice of applying street art on all the levels in my policies. And that's why we see it as emerging science. There are needs for projects like this, there are needs for critical discussions, and there is really need for more scientific papers written, not just by marketing promoters, but really by people who study the movement.
Thank you, Anna. 2501, there is also a question for you. The question is by Capus Project Manager. He's asking, what do you think about conserving, restoring murals or urban artworks to make them live together if these works are important for the community and its people?
So
please, 3 minutes for reply.
Yes. So as I told before, I'm not really into restoration, and that's super simple why I'm not in this practice, because I think that the kind of muralism that we are doing right now is not the Rivera muralism, or like a muralism that take like long time to do it. So the artists are flying to city to paint like murals that, as I said, they have their power in the moment of the execution as an inspirational way of communicate to people that they are the real owner of the public space. They are the real owner of their neighborhood. They are the people that can promote changes in their neighborhood, in their cities. So this is what new muralism give: empowerment, more than real aesthetic output. What I've seen around the world, like that's my personal opinion, of course, but the 95% of street art that I'm seeing around the world is total irrelevant in a painting way. I mean, we are seeing things that have been already made from other muralists in the beginning of the 900. So this movement is not relevant for his aesthetic way, of his aesthetic approach, or at least is not relevant in the 95% of the cases. This movement is relevant because of the empowerment that can give to people. the way of thinking of yourself as a person that can do changes in neighborhoods, in cities, in your own life. Then, just to finish to respond to this question, if for the community, the mural become a sort of archetype of something, if the community is really involved in the conservation of a mural, so that's maybe the only moment where I think could be interesting and important to preserve this artifact. But this is something that have to come from the community and not from the city, because sometimes, as we see, for example, in Bologna, where a piece of blue was detached from a wall and conserved in a museum where you have to pay to see the mural, so it's not even free for the city, and the artist that is still alive was not agreeing with the conservation of the mural. So that's a toxic behavior, because it's not a behavior that is starting from the community, but it's a behavior that is starting from the city that want to make money on top of something. So yes, I'm against it, but as I said, if the community want and is really involved in the process of conservation, I think that's the only moment where it's unspeakable. I don't know if it's the right English word, like if it's good to restore and to preserve a mural, in my opinion, of course.
Thank you for your rebel attitude and perspection. The last question is
sorry, I think it's just like a way of seeing after 10 years of working around the world on this topic. Just to clarify, I don't think it's really rebel. It's like just, I think many people have the same ideas on that kind of topic, even if they are not, even maybe if they are not on my same age and not from my same background, for example. Just to clarify, sorry.
We completely agree with you, Jacobo. Completely agree with you.
Yeah, and also I will add that also being rebel, it's not always wrong. And even sometimes we need to be like this in order, to smooth consciousness and perspection, and also get people.
You know why just to clarify, you know why I don't use, I don't, because sometimes the street art movement is like, if you want to call it street art movement, and if it's a movement for real, it's little bit touch of this juvenilistic, as every street artist have some hip hop guys with his hat like this and the spray, but that's not really the case, not just in my case, but this movement is full of artists that are working with museum that have like study at university for years, or people that come from the street and never studies, but they are artists that have a real knowledge of what is happening around the world. So that's the only way. That's why sometimes I try to specificate that, yes, there could be a rebel attitude, as you said, but we don't have to forget that this movement is made of people that have a profound knowledge, and that they are professionists and professional, and that have been working on this field for more than 15 years. So yes, we can speak about rebel, but we have to speak also about professional people, professional artists that knows what they are talking about, not just people that can provide a nice image. And sorry, I'm really sorry if I'm taking more time than I'm allowed to do it.
Thank you, really, thank you. We can keep the discussion at the end of the webinar, and I would like to remind you that this webinar is thought as open space for stimulating discussion, getting new perspective, provoking new perspectives. So please feel free to share your consideration and your opinion. And just a last question to Claudio and Christy. how can you involve citizens on a practical manner, meaning painting with citizens or with professional artists? If you give a 3 minutes example.
Sure. We hope that this project will be the start of a street art trend in Miaven. And I personally have plans to make a small festival at start where we invite people to express themselves. Considering the fact that we're an industrial city, like I said, I want to keep the theme industrial and maybe used industrial containers. And each year we take those containers and then we stack them up on each other. So we get the works of previous years. But regarding how to involve the local community or non-artists, non-official artists, we want this project to be a message that we approve of street art, and that if you want to express yourself through street art, just contact us, contact me at the tourism center, and we'll find a way to help you express yourself. We don't want you to just be treated as vandals and have to do it in 5 minutes in a hurry. We want you to be treated as proper artists, and we want to give you a canvas to express yourselves. Either if you're a professional artist, or like 2501 said, if you just have natural talent that you've learned during the years, we're open to anything. Just if somebody wants to do street art in Miaven legally, not just graffiti, all they have to do is contact us and we'll find a way to make it happen.
Thank you, Claudio, for your answer. So let's move on to the final part of the webinar. We are ready to travel in Europe with this colorful street art initiative and projects of this amazing partnership. Let's start with Arcognano Municipality.
Sì, eccomi qua.
Okay. Arcognano Municipality is going to share a video of its city and street art initiatives done at local level.
Yeah. No. Now, we want to show you the video with our experiences. The only things that I want to tell you is that we wanted to transform a very ugly side of our city in beauty, in art, in colors, in fantasy, but we thought that it was not good if we did it alone as a municipality. For this reason, we wanted to involve the people, especially schools, especially teachers and students, and with them also the parents, because street art is a very good way to increase the cultural level of our people, of our community, and it was a very good way to increase the community, all the community, because it was not only a question of art and beauty, but we wanted to transform the art in a cultural event. And this is the reason why we try with to involve people, and especially the schools. Okay, let's start with the video. Is it okay or not? It's not.
Nadia, do you have a problem with sharing your screen, I guess? Looking at your video.
Okay, let's go.
Now it's okay. Lo vedete?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay.
Tolto l'audio.
È per noi un
modo per trasformare degli angoli del nostro comune in bellezza. Il progetto Street Art è nato nel 2014 ad oggi e seguirà anche nei prossimi anni, visto l'entusiasmo che ha suscitato.
L'associazione GEOS è un'organizzazione non profit che è sorta nel 2012 e ha lo scopo proprio di promuovere la street art per abbellire, per riqualificare degli spazi cittadini magari qualche volta.
Abbiamo portato ad Arcugnano, in una provincia di una provincia, il meglio che si poteva avere a livello di artisti, a livello almeno europeo.
All'inizio non è stato tutto semplice. La proposta di chiamare uno street artist famoso nel suo ambiente per venire a colorare nel nostro comune non era condivisa da tutti. Anzi, in particolare si temeva i costi, si temeva ma poi cosa disegna, sono cose che non c'entrano niente con noi, la nostra realtà. Pian pianino, grazie all'interesse di alcuni genitori con cui abbiamo creato un gruppo di lavoro per portare avanti questo progetto, abbiamo cercato il più possibile di sfatare ogni dubbio, perplessità e il progetto è stato avviato.
Qui ad Arcugnano il compito dell'associazione, dopo gli incontri che facciamo, le discussioni con il sindaco Paolo Pellizzari, che per la scelta dell'artista e delle superfici che individuiamo disponibili, ecco, noi ci occupiamo di tutto l'aspetto logistico. L'artista e quindi acquistare i colori. Ci occupiamo della sicurezza sul lavoro.
La cosa vincente è stata la nostra motivazione, che era quella, ripeto, di portare bellezza all'interno del nostro territorio, arte, cultura, ma non fine a se stessa, ma coinvolgendo le scuole, coinvolgendo i ragazzi e coinvolgendo i genitori.
I bambini erano entusiasti di fare bella la loro scuola. Hanno partecipato direttamente con grandissimo entusiasmo perché hanno conosciuto i due artisti, Okuda e Marest, direttamente. Tutta la scuola è stata dipinta, è stata abbellita come un museo a cielo aperto, ma la cosa più bella che hanno imparato i bambini, oltre che l'amore per l'arte e la cultura, è stato il messaggio che dietro queste opere si nasconde. Infatti Okuda ha lasciato impresso in una parete amore per tutti. Questo è rimasto impresso anche nei loro cuori.
Io mi ricordo quando ho aiutato Antonio Marest che sono salito su quel camion che si allunga e tu sei sopra ed ero con la bomboletta e avevo paura che mi cadesse la bomboletta.
Era la prima volta che dipingevo insomma un muro murales, è stato divertente, allegro e mi ha fatto venire voglia di colorare i muri in generale.
Non avendo esperienze pregresse, abbiamo dovuto inventarci tutto. Prima cosa, la scelta degli artisti. L'obiettivo nostro vero è quello di puntare sull'eccellenza. Per cui abbiamo cercato, abbiamo voluto, abbiamo inseguito questi artisti che ci sembravano i più bravi sulla scena mondiale europea, li abbiamo contattati e stranamente, perché pensavo di ricevere molti no, invece hanno aderito e sono venuti qua.
Io ho trovato un bellissimo rapporto con un francese, Mantrarea, anche lui ormai è un artista che tra la Bolivia, non so mai dove si trova, gira tutto il mondo. Qui ha disegnato una bellissima libreria, che ricorda poi la libreria bertoliana di Vicenza, molto famosa, però ci sono le farfalle perché sono il suo simbolo di riconoscimento. grande artista, poi Bart Smith-Zumbenga, che è venuto nel 2018 e ha disegnato un bambino che soffia il soffio della vita, molto bello sulla struttura della scuola media di Arcugnano. Un altro spagnolo che è Liken, con questa sua fantasia surrealista che impressiona e che ha dato un'opera veramente fantastica, che ha 4 zoomate che si osservano per ore e ore dai dettagli e dai particolari che ci pone. Ovviamente non sono mancati poi gli italiani. C'è un pugliese che si chiama Daniele Nitti, che ha disegnato per le Spole Mistrovigo nel vano scalo interno il vaso della conoscenza. Mentre un nome ovviamente famoso ormai in Italia è Maupalla, la sua idea è stata quella di realizzarci un occhio. È un occhio molto particolare perché nella pupilla è impressa proprio il salvagente, quindi c'è la salvezza e c'è la speranza poi di un futuro che si raccoglie in questa opera di Maupalla.
Gli artisti scelti sono stati chiamati per il loro stile, ma in realtà non abbiamo mai avuto dei bozzetti perché gli artisti non li fanno. E perciò insomma all'inizio è stata un po' difficile. Poi mano a mano che le opere si materializzavano e si vedeva l'entusiasmo, che mi permetto di dire in primis dei bambini coinvolti, che poi ha contagiato i genitori e tutta la popolazione. I commenti sono solo positivi. Il problema vero che noi viviamo ad oggi è che non abbiamo più muri da dipingere.
Noi sensibilizziamo i bambini all'arte perché ci crediamo noi, perché riteniamo che sia una fonte educativa e di bellezza straordinaria. Noi insegnanti non diremo mai colora un albero marrone, non esiste, perché c'è anche l'albero rosso, l'albero verde e da ogni colore può nascere anche una storia, può nascere un'impressione.
Filippo e Caterina erano sempre molto felici quando abbiamo fatto queste esperienze. Logicamente volevano trasportare a casa questa esperienza del colorare i muri. Mamma, possiamo anche in camera nostra inventarci e fare.
Io sono Sara, abito ad Arcugnano, lui è Luca e anche lui come me abita ad Arcugnano. Abbiamo fatto dei murales anche noi.
Per me è stato un piacere enorme e una soddisfazione imprimere la mia arte, insomma, nel mio territorio. La rappresentazione della tigre è stata voluta per esprimere forza, la forza che noi giovani possiamo dare al nostro paese. L'artista prova nella sua opera e tramite il suo stile di trasferire quella magia che serve a questo mondo, insomma a chi è rivolto, quindi al pubblico.
Non avevo mai fatto niente di simile, ho solo pensato a cosa mi sarebbe piaciuto. Oltre al camaleonte ho fatto anche dei fiori ed è stata un'idea di una bambina che con la mamma è passata di qua perché lo sentisse anche più suo, l'ho lasciata e così sono nati anche i fiori.
Erano state messe a disposizione delle sedie nel piazzale della scuola e si poteva andare là e vedere Okuda che lavorava e che creava, capire qual era il suo metodo, come faceva a farsi il bozzetto su cui poi lavorava e partecipare.
È stata una bellissima iniziativa quella di decorare la città per dare uno stimolo nuovo comunque ai giovani che rende comunque un paese unico.
Abbiamo ereditato dalla natura e dalle generazioni che ci hanno preceduto un territorio bellissimo. A noi piace l'idea di continuare a promuovere questa bellezza. I murali sono il frutto del nostro lavoro, della nostra progettazione. Ci piace considerarli come dei portali, come delle finestre aperte sul mondo, perché le tradizioni, la storia ha un senso, rappresentano le nostre radici più profonde Questi hanno senso soltanto se il grande albero della nostra comunità fa germogliare le gemme verso il cielo, verso l'alto, in modo che si possa scrutare l'orizzonte e capire che oltre i nostri confini c'è un mondo che vale la pena di conoscere ed apprezzare.
Thank you, Katia Paolo from Arcugnano for sharing your experience. I will move on with other partner. Now we jump in Portugal, in Lisboa. Julia.
Hello, everyone. I am here today introducing Club Intercultural Europeu. It's the association I'm working for. We are based in Lisboa, and we work in the fields of youth, education, training, and employability. We also developed some projects about social inclusion through arts. And also we are representing the municipality of Beato for the international project STAR. For today, I want to share with you guys a short video we did about some examples of street art here in Lisboa, also some festivals and programs. And that's it. I hope you enjoy it. And I really hope you're able to listen in well to the video, because I had some issues before, but let's see. Please let me know, okay? I'm going to share the, okay. Is it okay?
Lisbon is one of the European cities with more representation of street art. The city is constantly changing, and what was once considered mere vandalism nowadays has the approval of the majority of the population and the support of certain institutions. An endless number of urban artists come to Lisbon every year to leave their mark. A good example of the above mentioned would be the art program, Galeria de Arte Urbana. This project is mapping all the murals in Lisbon, furthermore inviting some of the most prestigious contemporary urban artists to visit Lisbon and make their contribution to the city. Galeria de Arte Urbana also has a number of walls available, and it is possible, as an individual, to request one of these walls for your art. A greater number of collectives and associations are developing street art projects as a way of social inclusion, as is the case of the Paredes project, promoted by Club Intercultural Europeu and financed by the Fundação Calouste Gulbenkian through the program Parties Art for Social Inclusion. Miro is the biggest street art festival in Lisboa. The festival started in 2016 and aimed at providing value and validation to neighbourhoods of the city with negative reputations. This festival had 3 editions in 3 different areas of Lisboa and had tremendous impact, not only opening the territory to new people, but also providing self-esteem to the respective communities of each neighbourhood. Nowadays, the most international and important reference of street art in Lisboa is Vils, because of its unique visual language. The elimination of the superficial layers of the wall to create faces. Using acid and bleach, Vils starts to paint the canvas that will be deconstructed. Then, using hammers, chisels, and pneumatic hammers, Vils sculpts the pieces to create textures, dimensions, and layers. His work is always linked to a social political intervention message. This nameless mural was a creation that Vils did in association with Abe, the artist who created the famous Barack Obama's portrait, Obama Home. This piece is about women's rights and gender equality. It is no longer possible to be a contemporary city designed for citizens without including public artistic expression as a transformative and enriching tool.
That's it. Thank you for watching.
Thank you so much.
Nadia, can I just add something? Just about Project Paredes, which was one that we did in one of the most marginalized neighborhoods in Lisbon, and it goes with the presentations that were made before during this conference, that the empowerment that it gave through Street Art is now at the point where every citizen involved from those neighborhoods are now considered leaders, not only towards the neighborhood, but towards the city itself, and even in terms of institutions. And they actually did the follow-up project where it's called The Backside of the City in English, and it's a brand they made in the neighborhood, where now the role is reversed, in the sense that the organizations are now the support system, and the citizens, the residents, are the leaders. So just in the line of what was said before, just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Nuno, for this clarification. Let's jump now in Kosovo, specifically in Peja. Vullnet, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Well, as you said, I here represent the municipality of Peja and also the Youth Innovation Center. I'm the director of the Youth Center, and we have a lot of projects, but from a couple of years now, we started with street art projects. And together with municipality, we had a lot of murals in our city. So during the pandemics, we prepared a video, which I'm going to share with you. Just a second, and I will share the video that we prepared. I hope you enjoy it and like it too. Okay. I'm not sure why it's.
Do you have any problems? Okay, now it's sharing.
Yeah.
The sector that I lead is responsible for building the overall strategy for the development and empowerment of youth through different projects and programs. We do this by creating a supportive environment for youth, as well as by creating opportunities for the promotion, development, and participation of youth in the social activities. During this time, I have come to realize that street art not only contributes to the regeneration of public spaces, but it also contributes to the empowerment of youth engagement and active citizenship in general. Finally, I'm going to leave you to glance through some street art activities that we have organized and supported in the past. I hope you enjoy them.
At the Youth Center, we have different programs and projects supporting the youth. One of the programs that I really care about is supporting young artists. And since we saw a lot of public spaces, a lot of public buildings that are neglected, we thought maybe we can, put together art and youth and our willingness to participate in giving those public spaces a new kind of life, new kind of look. Of course, at the beginning we have some difficulties, some challenges, mainly financial support. But after the first edition that went so good, we decided that we should organize it again next year.
Me and some of my friends have been chosen by the Youth Center to work on the mural.
What they required from us was the making of something symbolic for the city and something to draw attention with. What we decided to do was creating a mural of books that not only would draw attention, but also could be used to raise awareness on something that is quite low in percentage nowadays, and that is reading. Later on, we continued on the walls inside the art school until the latest edition of the revitalization of the youth center through graphic art, or what is also known as street art.
I was part of the professional art school of the city, and from there I was selected to be part of the street art PEA for the last 3 years. Being part of the team has helped me personally a lot to grow professionally and to enjoy the city more. PEA had many public spaces where we could do our art, and this was the main reason for doing this was to bring the city back to life, to give something to the city that people in the future can enjoy. We've faced different problems, but also I would like to mention the PEA people who helped us a lot with different materials, and people were actually really
part of the Youth Innovation Center since 2016, which was held the first edition of Street Art PEA. So this project had 3 stages. The first stage was to choose the people, to take meetings and decide on which location we are going to do the mural. The second stage of this project was to hold brainstorming sessions with young people about the ideas. When we choose the ideas, then was the final stage. In the final stage, we implementing the idea on which part of the city or the location we're going to do. Taking part in this project was colorful personalities, which I loved, because I got to meet new friends, new people, and have new experience, and I'm grateful for this.
Also being recognized by some of the local newspapers, and yeah, I had an interview there. It was my first interview, and also we got recognized by the youth center and the municipality of PEA.
So the chance that we can collaborate with all these municipalities and organizations from the different parts of Europe, it's really intriguing for us, and we are very happy that we can share our experience.
And yeah, that's all.
Thank you guys for sharing this video. This really is nice, and it was really nice to see so many young people join artistic work, and also join the video, speaking with so many passion. Really, I think that we are really doing a great job in your city.
I just wanted to add that that we are very young, trying to organize street art projects, and we usually try to do a participatory art. As you saw in the videos, we gather young people with art background from art high school, and we work with them.
Thank you so much. Let's now go to Slovenia with Mateja. Mateja, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hello to all. The presentation. Do you hear me?
Mateja, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Now, yes.
Yes, hello to all. Hello from Slovenia. Our presentation will be made by my colleague, Safet. So, Safet, please.
First of all, hello. Can you hear me? Is the sound well?
Yeah.
Yes. Good. So let's just start with the presentation. My name is Safet, as Mateja has said. I'm here to present the municipality of Trebnje in Slovenia and our involvement and engagement with the STAR project. Slovenia, of course, is set in Central Europe, right next to Italy, Croatia, Hungary, and Austria. It's a small country of over 2 million people, and the municipality of Trebnje, our town, is in the southeastern region of the country. We have around 12,000 inhabitants and 12 local communities. So as a municipality, we are a basic unit of self-government in Slovenia. We have a mayor, Mr. Alojzij Kastelic. We have a head of the municipal administration. In our municipality, this position is held by Mr. Janez Pirc. The basic mission of any municipality in Slovenia is, of course, to regulate and organize municipal affairs within the framework and boundaries of the law. So this includes primary education, social welfare, health, social housing, culture, leisure, and of course, local public utilities and networks. Our municipality is also involved in many European projects, including, of course, the STAR project. The municipality itself, as I said, is relatively small or mid-sized, but we are in a very diverse landscape of alpine worlds, dynamic karst, Pannonian plain. Our town is right in the center of the municipality and is an urbanized linear settlement that is on the left bank of River Temnica. Temnica, as typical of many karst region rivers, is a disappearing river, which means it occasionally disappears underground and then appears somewhere else. Trebnje was already settled in Roman times. Back then, it was a military post called Praetorium Latobicorum. Of course, because of that, there are quite a few findings and remains from this time, which give us a very rich history. And amongst the two of them are a bronze statue of Hercules, which you can see on the left, and a giant statue of a lion, which you can see on the right. The lion has become a symbol of modern Trebnje and has also become part of this municipality's coat of arms. As for the culture of our town, our gallery of naive artists is the only one of its kind in Slovenia, and actually one of the largest in the world. It exhibits works of self-taught painters, artists, sculptors who have decided to rebel against traditional classical art and perform or create their own works. The collection has over 1,200 donated works, paintings, reliefs, produced by 285 naive artists from all over the world, 40 countries, Europe, and all over the place. And there is also the camp for naive artists that has been held every year since 1968, gathering artists all over the world. Because of this, the gallery is one of the most well-known cultural attractions and features of the municipality. Here you can see even more works of art, even more paintings and sculptures and reliefs. As for the gallery itself, it's part of our Center for Education and Culture here in Trebnje. Now, as for the street art, unlike in larger cities, street art is not very developed here in Trebnje. The first street art initiative was performed by a youth society, KUI, or Creative Art Incubator, which was financially supported by our municipality in 2014. That was 6 years ago now. This initiative included the creation of a graffiti or a mural on the wall of the Trebnje's Center for Education and Culture, which is located in the city center. Essentially, the initiative was there to try to link the younger or alternative population with the older conservative one in order to, for the incubator, for their community, to be, for other people to understand their views, their works, and of course there was quite a few workshops and lectures about the time concerning street art. As for the actual mural itself, it was made by the artist 1107 Klant, and here you can see the actual mural located on the Trebnje Center for Culture and Education. Now, Our municipality is becoming more open to street art, but initiatives are still rare and far apart. So the artists, well, most well-known artists in Slovenia that actually deal with street art, that are actually graffiti artists, are from Ljubljana, which is the capital. But we do have some. Another initiative was an annual project called Petkanje, which is organized by the local martial arts club, Fearless Fighters. Essentially, it's a series of events that tries to combine street food and street art in our central city park. And we actually did get a mural or a graffiti in one of those sessions. The mural itself was made by the street artist Teoson, which you can see right here. According to Teoson, this mural is his vision of our Lion of Trebnje. As for other examples of street art, well, Trebnje doesn't have quite as much works of graffiti as other places, but which is why I think we are so involved in this, like to involve ourselves in this project. We like to implement street art in our municipalities, and our best course of action, we believe, is to paint playgrounds with graffiti or murals of board games or dice games, games like Snakes and Ladders, Ludo, Hopscotch. So these playgrounds would be already existing surfaces. Maybe some of them are empty, maybe some of them are unappealing, but we would turn them into playgrounds for enjoyment of everyone, young, middle-aged, old. We believe that these surfaces would then become the focal point of socialization, social inclusion amongst the people of Trebnje. As for the actual materials, we would think they would be made by recycling or reusing scrap materials. So this was a short presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Safer. I hope I pronunciate your name correctly.
Safer, it's Safer.
So now let's go to, it's the turn of Yuta. Yuta, can
you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Iluta, and I am representing Pārgauja municipality from Latvia today, and we have a little presentation. So I'm gonna share my screen with you. Okay. Okay. So this is a little sneak peek about what I'm going to talk about today. And there's a little movie about Pārgauja municipality, but actually I think I'm not gonna show it to you because of the lack of the time. And if you are interested in it, it is on YouTube. So if you type Pārgaujas novads or Pārgauja municipality, you will find it. It's about 2 minutes long. So short facts about our municipality. It's at the Ministry of Territory is created in 2009 when in Latvia was this administrative territorial reform, and so in the result Pārgauja municipality was created, and it is located in the north central part of Latvia and has 3 villages, Straupe, Stalbe, and Dreskums. And as you can see, we are not that big. Our area is about 500 square kilometers, and our population is almost 4,000 people. And so our mission, like every municipality or local government, its aim is working for the benefit of their citizens. And in Pārgauja municipality, there are some priority responsibilities, which are environment, culture, education, sport, safety, health services, social work, and support for entrepreneurs and youth. And I will tell a little bit about our local activities and perhaps culture. We have very developed amateur art groups, and they are making concerts, theater plays, and creative workshops. And we have some NGOs which are organizing their activities, and there are some traditional events as well. And about sport, there are sport games every summer, but most popular sports in Pārgauju municipality is floorball, archery, and orienteering. And a little bit about support for entrepreneurship, and it is in the way of grants for starting or developing businesses, and participating in like exhibitions and markets. And a little bit about youth. And so we have some traditional events for youth, which is youth forum. It is called Lift Up Idea, or Pacel Ideju in Latvian, which is it has aim to engage youth in business. But we also have this summer camp, which is called Laust Robežas, or Break the Borders. And it is for young people to realize their how powerful they are, how can they communicate, and how can they work in a team, and so on. And youth is also participating in international projects. And if we talk about project experience, we can say that we have implemented projects for municipalities development using different kind European Union funds and programs. But if we are talking about sorry, no, I have lost one slide. Okay, sorry. And if we are talking about project experience related to this topic, like street art, last year we participated in Bassano del Grappa in project which was called Spray, and it was youth exchange, and it was a great experience for our youth because I'm going to talk about plants because in our municipality there are not many street art masterpieces or something like that, but we really want to try. And there are people do not open up very easily for new things, especially seniors. But we would really like to show that street art can unite people and make local community feeling themselves. And but there are a lot of great street art masterpieces in Latvia, and this is why we have two scenarios for this project planned. First, it is basic one, which we are talking in the project, like painting a mural or some wall or anything else. But and we have some places in mind. Because we have this survey, but our citizens have one great suggestion actually, because in Parga municipality, there are like 50% forests. And we have many walking trails. And this is the time when we are not really able to visit public events or other countries. So walking trails in the forest have become very popular. And our citizens have suggested that maybe we can combine this street art with our walking trails and put some big canvas which can be movable to different walking trails in the forest. From my experience, I can say that if you are going to the forest, which is located near lake, perhaps you can meet like 30 people in one night. So this canvas in the forest will be a great destination for walking, perhaps. So, and this is our communication channels. If you want to know something more about us, and if you have any questions, we are ready to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Jutta, for sharing your presentation. Question will be done at the end of the presentation, at the end of the tour the table. And actually, I have a question for you and 2501 regarding this possible mixing between forestry, let's say forestry perception, forestry trails, and street art. So let's jump now from Latvia to Vlore in Albania with Fabiola. Fabiola, can you hear me?
Yes, of course, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can see you.
Just one moment. Okay, can you see my presentation?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I am Fabiola from Municipality of Vlore, Albania. Also, I will say hello to my colleague from municipality and from other institutions that are part here. Municipality of Vlora is located in the south of Albania and is one of the most beautiful Albanian coastal cities. The key of our economy development is the tourism sector, as you see from the picture. The municipality has the part of its strategy, social inclusion and promotion of art and culture. Also, we have been regularly engaged in works and activity to promote especially young people. In street art, our institution is engaged in basic level. So I have prepared a simple presentation with some of works called street art. Our municipality has never received sponsorship funds from EU for the street art, but all the works and activity have been made possible by the municipality or in cooperation with local NGO and by several other institutions. The activities we are going to list below are work realized by talented and civil citizens, mostly young people from Vlora. To increase more the number of tourists, as you see from the first picture that the tourism is our sector of economy, Vlora is, it would be a good idea to create street art festival, but this activity also will need some funds, and it's an idea that we're going to do in another time. So let's start with some pictures. This is first painted in November, founded by our municipality and in collaboration with the city of Lecce with ideator Albiana Viaggi, and of course our talent street art Franco Dine from Vlora City. Another picture is in the city center. Both this one and this are from this project, and are intended to give life to walls of the city center. We can see another picture. The municipality has the opinion that street art would help to create a better tourism offer. For this reason, this wall art. This mural painting is located in the first building of the entrance of the Lungomare, which is the main space public and most visited by citizens and tourists, mostly in summer. Also, our decorative works has historical messages by the communism system. You can see another work called Dreams, is located in the city main boulevard Ismail Chamali. Before this picture, before transforming on street art, it was a place covered from trashes. Now this is a place where people can enjoy the panorama of Dermi beach, and also they can take pictures. Another works are also addressed thematic in connection with the environment and animals. Municipality of Vlora also supports in some cases, organized other way of urban arts beside murals. An example in those pictures are folkloric activities in order to preserve culture heritage. Also, young people are children, part of different dances group, feel free to make their own exhibition on the street. The municipality will always support the transformation of art to the general public. You can see another, in this slide, some other pictures during the spring and summer season, which is the time that is the number of tourists very high. The last case of urban art is a talented pianist of our city, which in Catholic Easter in April chose to play some music and melodic notes for all the citizens. As you know, during the period of COVID, all of us has stayed and or work by home. And thank you. If you have any question, also you can find my email address and also the web of Municipality of Vlora in this slide.
Thank you, Fabiola, for sharing your artworks, your local artworks. Now we go back to Northern Europe, specifically in Czech Republic with Eva. Eva, can you hear me?
Yes, hi.
Hello, Eva.
On my screen, just a second. Just a second. Okay. So I would like to talk a little bit about our organization, the European Projects and Management Agency. Then how we include social inclusion in our work, a little bit about street art in the Czech Republic, and then what we are going to do in this project. So first of all, we've been around for a while. We are around since 2004. We support local and regional development and promote partnerships and international cooperation. We usually work around national and international projects and do a lot of studies and analysis. So it's not as much on the ground, perhaps, as the other partners. But our main goal is the transformation towards digital, towards knowledge-based, digitally empowered, inclusive society, inclusive and digital being the keywords there. We focus on, or we do it through various themes, including inclusion and equal access to opportunities, education and training, skills development, and innovative thinking in SMEs, social enterprises, and other areas. We also focus on smart cities and regions, which has to do with this project quite a bit. We've done a number of projects. What is interesting is here, perhaps for this project from our history, is a lot of work on social inclusion, a lot of work on friendly cities, smart cities, etc. So basically, I've just demonstrated that there is a lot of social inclusion in our work, not as much the street art part, but there we are cooperating with local partners. But first, I would like to turn a little bit to what is street art in the Czech Republic. As in a lot of countries now and before, it's basically a political protest. In the Czech Republic, it was against the communist regime, and it was very problematic for the people who did it. And I would like to point out this symbol of street art in the Czech Republic, which is the Lenin Wall in Prague. However, it's been painted over now because, again, we are running into some political, perhaps, issues here. So now what we are going to do in terms of STAR in EPMA, we are cooperating with Jihlava City Municipality. It's the newest municipality in the Czech Republic. So they are not, I mean, they're not as experienced or not as, basically they're a small city, rather small city for a capital regional city, and they have very young people in the administration. They are very cooperative on these issues, but they are not very developed in terms of urban art, etc. And we are there working with regional and city-funded organizations, as well as relevant NGOs from the city as well as the region. The municipality has so far done a number of cultural initiatives centered on bottom-up approach. They do some grant schemes. They're also doing projects, and they have developed an integrated plan for regeneration of the city, which now we're trying to connect with the area of art. Now, specific examples, not just street art, but also art initiatives, is the International Documentary Film Festival, which is really big in the Czech Republic and internationally as well. Also, they've created some spaces for legal graffiti. They still call it graffiti in the city. And they offer these spaces actively throughout the city. And also their biggest gallery there has been running a street art exhibition from basically street art from the local artists. So that's it. We are working on it. We are developing it with these people who are not very far in it, but also trying to include young people from disadvantaged backgrounds in the Czech Republic. There are some there are groups, particularly Roma, that are very affected by marginalization. So we are working with those kids, and we are hoping to create something that will be meaningful in the city. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eva, for your presentation. We now move on in Mostar, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, with Dženana. Dženana, can you hear me?
Just a second. Hello to everybody. It is nice to have a chance to see you
Dženana, we
all
cannot hear you very well
at the screen. Happy to have the chance to. I know my connection is very bad. Can you hear me now?
Now it seems a bit better.
Yeah, actually my internet connection is really bad. I will try, so stop me if this is not possible to see my presentation.
What? It's not possible to...
Yeah, I can continue, but stop me if it is not okay.
Oh, okay, yes, sure.
Okay, I will share my screen now.
Do you have video or it's just a presentation? It's just a PowerPoint?
Can you see my presentation now?
No.
No. I don't know.
But you didn't share your screen.
I'm trying.
Okay, now it's working.
Is it okay? Can you see my screen now?
Yes, now yes.
Okay, so I will start with my presentation. So please let me know if this is not possible to see or to hear me. So thank you for this opportunity to be part of this plane that we are part of ALDA Association, and we are here actually supporting the real partner in the project, and this is City of Mostar. So they are also together here with us in this conference, but my role is to present the street art, and not only the street art, but the whole story about urban intervention. In a few slides, I will try to share the experience of the City of Mostar and the project of local democracy agency implemented in the Mostar. So first of all, I will present to you the Street Art Festival in the Mostar that is running for
Jenana, we cannot hear you at all. And now she just got off from the call. Jenana, we cannot hear you. You have to unmute your mic. You have to mute your microphone.
losing. Can you hear
Jenana, we
me
cannot
now?
hear you at all. I will go on with the other presentation.
Can
and
you hear me now?
Or maybe move in another room or connect it with
Maybe, yes.
Okay, let's try in this way. So I will give
Okay,
the floor to
I will try again, okay?
Yes. Hello, everybody. Can you hear us? Hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. So I will share my screen now with you. Does it work?
See.
Perfect.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I will talk today for KITEF in Oberhausen. We are based in the old water tower in the main station, and we renovated 3 stories in the tower, which is now used as our office. And when artists or students from all over the world visit us, they can sleep here with indoor camping. And we use it as well for several events. We have renovated most of it self-made, as you see on the pictures. And one of the first projects was to repair the clock of the tower because it stood still. The time stood still in Oberhausen, and we wanted to keep it turning again. And for example, another project that we did is the Refugees Kitchen, which is in Futrak, which was built together with people with refugee background. And now they sell food from their home countries, and which is used mostly on festivals, for example. Another project was that we put up a neon sign on a high-rise building here in Oberhausen in the end of 2018, which says diversity is our home. So Vielfalt ist unsere Heimat in German. To spread this message and to make people think of it, especially in Oberhausen, because the city does only exist because of migration in its history. So we constantly creating utopian visions for our city and try to get very close to it in reality. For this reason, we launched a free university in the beginning of last year, because Oberhausen is the only big city in the rural area which does not have an own university. This is a community-based project where we involved our neighbors to ask them what issues do you want to talk about and what seminars could be given. And now the people from our neighborhood themselves are the lecturers and give seminars to other people of the neighborhood. So now we have about 20 seminars, and one of this seminar is street art. I give over to my colleague.
Hello, I'm Aaron. So when we do the street art workshops, one very important thing is that we will open the minds of the participants to think and work free. So that it's important that they find his own way to create, and that they come in a creative mood. And of course, we will speak about the history of street art. We share what the history of us and the history of street art, of muralism, of graffiti, and especially of the beginnings of these mediums, the important influences and the troubles and the changes about it. Here we can see the workshop situation, and so we're looking for that we you can see here the techniques that we use, the brushes and rolls, and we do it with spray cans too. And of course, it's the important thing is that they find his own style and that they feel free to find his own style. And if we use all these techniques, it's very interesting that they find ways to bring his ideas on the walls or at first on the papers. And and after this step, maybe they bring his ideas, his styles on other walls or other positions in the city.
Hi guys, I'm Ursula Mayer. I'm been working with Aaron for a long time now, and we have been doing lots of workshops, self-organized workshops, and I myself I'm also a street art artist here in the Ruhr area and try to be active internationally as well. And yes, we've had the opportunity to do this workshop first time last year through the Free University of Oberhausen, and it's been awesome to see because there's a lot of the students come from all over. They have different ages. We even had a granny taking part in it, and as Aaron just said, we try to introduce geotheory, introduce the history of graffiti and street art, and then we start doing the practical work and to give an experience as well. So we go on the wall and paint. It's also it's important to show the people what the messages in street art, or the importance of street art, and to empower the people, the inhabitants of the city, to raise their voices in the medium of street art. So we introduce them to different techniques and like just graffiti, muralism, stencils, paste ups, and all the stuff that we all know about. And it's quite interesting to see how people evolve, and as I said, many different ages and backgrounds, and that everyone wants to thinks it's an interesting theme. I mean, we're from the rural area. I don't know if any of you know it, and it's a very gray area. It has a lot of potential, a lot of gray walls. It definitely needs to become a bit more colorful, and so we try to push people to go that way and to motivate them to reclaim the city, to be part of the sign and image conflict in the urban area. It all started back in history as well with not wanting to accept advertisement. And the other day I was walking around in my city in Essen, which is like 20 minutes from here, and I saw this huge advertisement of cigarettes, Camel, and then a graffiti next to it. And I thought, okay, why the hell is the advertisement legal, which kills you because cigarettes kill you, and then like graffiti, which is only paint on the wall, is illegal, which is very paradox in our society. But we try to motivate people to spread their own message, educate the viewer, raise political issues, inspire people by telling stories. And I've only had very good experiences with this. Thanks for listening.
So thank you, and we are super happy to be part of the project now. You're muted, Nadia.
Thank you, Jana. Thank you guys for this moving presentation. And then, Marco, it's your turn from Zaječar, from Serbia.
Great. Hello, guys. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So, my name is Marko Sibinovic, and I'm a co-founder of Outhide Festival, and I'm representing the Outhide Festival in the municipality of Zaječar. So I'll be fast as I can. Outhide Festival is a new festival in Zaječar. It lasts 5 years, and it's a gather of the young people who decide to make a change in their community. So the Outhide Festival is an art and music festival. So about the street art in Zaječar, Zaječar is an industrial city, and the historical of the history of graffiti art is started in 1997, when we reproduced the one graffiti that we see in US. And after that, we gather a crew that is working on the graffiti art till today. So in Zaječar, we first have an Zalet Festival, who is gathered about 600 people, 600 muralists and street artists, who is gathered to do some nice graffiti art and present it to the community of Zaječar. This is some pictures of it that you can see here. As I say, so far about 600 artists have participated in the Zalet Festival in the last 15 years. A legacy has been left for 46 exhibitors, 2 theater plays, 19 murals, 11 literary nights, 22 performances, and 60 musical performances, 21 film screening, and 14 art workshops. This is some arts of the Zalet Festival, as you can see here in our presentation. And we have our local artist, Ivan Andrijašević Focus, who is the main protagonist of the street art and graffiti here in Zaječar. This is his story. And he is gathering the crew for the last 20 years here in Zaječar, that they are painting all the walls that we can get here in Zaječar, because the people in the community in Zaječar still think that this is the vandalism and this is not the kind of art that we think that is. And then after some of the years that we are doing the graffiti in Zaječar, some of the some of the public spaces that that are here in Zaječar give us the walls, and that the new era of graffiti starts. So some of our primary schools and the principals of the primary schools give us the walls, as you can see here in our pictures, to paint it together with the kids from the school. And we did some murals and graffiti art here in our primary schools. This is the sport hall in Zaječar, which has graffiti, and this is the 2007, as I see here. This is the other primary school, my primary school, with the graffiti on it. And that was the nice move from the, I don't know, for the graffiti and mural here in Zaječar. People start seeing that that's kind of art that is really nice and really good, and that is beautified the walls here in Zaječar. So we started with that new era and made a Code Height project. Code Height project is made in 2018. The goal of that project is that we paint 5 murals with a symbolic, and that symbolic was connected with the problems that we have in our society. Some of that problems was the cash flow of the money, the violence against the women, the earth, and the ecology. And the point of the Code Height project is that we paint the mural, and in the bottom left, we put the QR code. QR code, when you scan it, bring you to the app or to the site when you can leave the comment of the problem that you have in your community. So that was the interactive communication with the citizens of Zaječar, that they can give their speech and that we can hear their problems that they have in their municipality and their environment. So this is one of the mural that's called 13 Salary. The symbolic is really clear here, and it's the first time that we have the courage to put that symbolic on the walls of the Zaječar and to have the really good comments and feedback from the people of Zaječar. And that's of course the really good start for us to do on the street art and graffiti art. Next one is the My Wife Lepa. It's doing that we have a Marilyn Monroe with the blue eye. I said that's a taboo topic, and it's a symbolic of violence against women. Next one is Our Planet, Our Mind. This is the one mural we did in a suburban area in Zaječar that's explaining about fifth element and ecology. Next one is the mechanism, that is the cash flow that we have here in Zaječar for 50 years, I think, how the people are gathering their money, and when you came to the people, that regular people that left without money. So the next one, we have a panel discussion about Code Height project, about internet, about how the kids can safely lurk through the internet and how to secure themselves on the internet. And after that, we did a panel discussion about the influence of the American culture on the graffiti and hip hop here in Zaječar. That is really big here. And the next one, after this panel discussion, we have an art zone in Out Height Festival in 2018, where we made an art zone where people, local artists can come in and to draw their murals and their graffiti. And our visitors of Out Height Festival can see all that art that we made. Other one is an art zone of Out Height Festival in 2019. The point of Out Height Festival and the message that we send is that the Zaječaris have a lack of kids, and all the grandmothers are staying here in Zaječar, and our symbolic is very clear that we want to draw a mural. This is for example, the fun fact is that this is the biggest mural ever did in Zaječar. So we did it with the symbolic of idea that we have for the Out Height Festival. After that, we have in the same year, we have an art zone, first time that we have this type of art zone in the city center, when the people who is coming through the city center can stand and see what this look like, and how look like when we have a really good artist in a city center who is producing the really nice images of their kind of art. And when the people see the symbolic and how this beautiful is,
they start calling us to do the murals on their buildings, on their walls. And I think that with these art zones and everything we did with the graffiti and murals, we put a nice message to the community and open up them and their thoughts that we can continue doing this in our city that is really great and really big for us. And after that, we have, as I say before, Ivan Andriashevich Focus made a book promotion of Letter That Matters, because he lived in Chicago and his graffiti career starts in Chicago and continued through all cities, I think 20 countries that he worked for. And he made a little book of his graffiti and his art. And we did the promotion of his book to the people who came to our panel discussion. And that was the thing that we make a leap to the graffiti art form here in Zaječar. And we are really happy to work with the STAR projects and the whole people here involved in this project, because we think this is the really important thing, and that can make our city and other cities more powerful and more okay for living in it. And that the main message is that we can bring kids that get out of the Zaječar, come back to Zaječar and do these nice things with us. So really thank you for your attention. I think that's the fastest that I can to present the Zaječar and Municipality Zaječar Outside Festival. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marco, for sharing this presentation and also your city and artworks done in your city. We are about to come to the end of the webinar. Just two presentations are missing, one from Reggio Emilia and the one from Mostar. And we hope Gennaro will fix her technical problems. So we start from Italy and we finally get back in Italy again, but now in Reggio Emilia with Alessia.
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Alessia, and I'm working for the municipality of Reggio Emilia. Reggio Emilia is an Italian city placed in the northeast of Italy. And I'm going to be really fast. Thank you for your resistance and resilience. And so I'm going to share my screen. Okay. It's going to be a brief presentation on how and our municipality deal with street art and urban art and murals as a social inclusion tools. For us, the street art policy is really important in our work with youth, because our office is a youth policy and we consider street art as a creative and qualifying communication tool. In Reggio Emilia, there are many artists, and for this reason, we share a path together with them, and we create this table of street art where the municipality is able to work with street artists and give a really important relevance to this kind of art. And we're also part of a national table. And in Reggio Emilia, you can find a urban gallery. It's called Ex Officine Reggiane. It's a former mechanical factory, really important during the Second World War. And now a lot of artists go there and make their works. And you can find on the website, you can visit the pavilions. It's a virtual museum, and it's really interesting if you want to go and see it. This is one of the first work that I would like to introduce you. Is on the facade of a high school, and this specific work was made because some students of this high school wanted to paint the facade of their school. So it was a participatory path born in this way, and they involved students, mayor, assessors, councillors, and together with street artists, they decided which kind of work to do on these. And at the end, the decision was focused on the theme of knowledge, and they explored the myth of Athena and Prometheus. And it's a work of James Kalinda, Neko Psycho, and Signora K. Then we have this other work is really important for us. The name I'm going to give you directly the English one, is from the paper, The Universal Declaration of Human Rights to the Wall. This was made in a place close to the train station. And so it's a block where the interculturality is really mixed. And the aim, it was to, through a participative path again, involving youth centers, neighborhoods, and all steps were shared. So from the beginning, from the idea, the sketches, and the painting too. And the result is this various painting, which follow on another along the old street. Now you can see only two of them, but if you go on this street, you can see the old street with all the articles on it, because they were also writing the articles of the Declaration of the Human Rights. Here we have another work made by a participatory path. The name is You Do Not Move Us From Here. Reggio Emilia is a really important city for resistance, partisans, and these are the faces of the partisans who were lived in that particular place of the city. It was a work lasting 1 year, involving neighborhoods, social centers, schools, again, young people. The theme was centered on the historical identity of these neighborhoods and how the historical identity face and involve and include the new neighborhoods of the city. So these are the phases of the partisans, and considering in this way the resistance of what they represent as a leitmotif of intercultural and intergenerational cohabitations in this part of the city. Another example is the library of San Pellegrino. This was the facade of the library. The municipality, together with the table of street art, decided to make this project. So the municipality asked to the artists to provide some sketches on how they would like to paint the facade. So we have five different sketches who were posted in the library, and for 2 weeks the people from there, I'm sorry for the email, people from the users from library and people also just went there through the people from Citizen could go there and vote for these works. The aim was to intend the library as a place of knowledge, as a place of where you actually can be free to be yourself. So at the end of these 2 weeks, this was the sketches who was voted, and this is now how is now the facade of this library. Another work is this work about Nelson Mandela, and is a collective project which involved again citizen schools in a journey to discover the values of Nelson Mandela, because the city of Reggio Emilia is really linked to this really important figure, because it was the first city in 1977 to take side against the apartheid. Again, this call involved 6 different proposals from artists from the street art, and this was the work who won, let's say won, and the name is called Ubuntu of this opera. The work represents the Ubuntu philosophy, a method of thought that celebrates the connection between people. As you can see, each painting is a letter expressed through sign language and hands, as well as the backgrounds are typical for every continent on Earth. Only if taken all together, you can see that they create the word Ubuntu, and at the same time, they tighten the rainbow flag. And this is a work from Hang and Daniele Castagnetti as the previous one. Just one last work. This is very important, is a mural for Sylvester. Sylvester was a young guy who died at the age of 14 during the journey home school, and this work was made close to the bus station and close to the underpass, where a lot of young people do street art in the city. So it's a work of Neko Maik and Daniele Castagnetti, street artists from the city, and a message for every guys there to keep going on their dream. I close to present you with this space. SV Factory Creative Lab is a place that is run by the municipality in collaboration with a social cooperative, and it's a place for youth creativity. And inside is also possible to learn, to try with street art. And during the inauguration, some street artists just do their mural live inside. So people go in there to see the inauguration. They could see effectively the artists working. And this is Signora Kay, Pietro Anceschi, and Mike. Of course, these works stay inside the place. We have many future projects going on, national, international levels. So our city is really active, and we are really can now see to going on with the STAR project. Okay, thank you. Okay. You're on mute. Nadia, we cannot hear you.
Sorry, again, I did it again. I was saying thank you, Alessia, for sharing your presentation. It's really impressive, the social commitment of the street art works done in Reggio Emilia, and really congratulations from my side, because it's really impressive, and also it's also nice to see the social commitment of local authorities and using alternatives way. So I will give the floor to Jenana. Hopefully she was able to.
I can talk to you, Nadia, but I cannot share my camera. You have to give me the role of the presenter as Maya. I'm on Maya's computer now.
We did it.
No, I cannot share my video at all.
Okay, try right now, because we did it again.
No, Zoom is unable to detect the camera.
Maybe it's something related to the technical setting of the laptop, because we assign you as a co-host. So you should be able to share screen, sounds, and any material you want to share. So maybe you have to fix something in the setting of your laptop.
I don't know. This is not laptop. This is computer.
You have to allow Zoom to use your camera.
But I have no that kind of option here. Now I can start the video, and then it is just a second. Admit. Okay. No. It was just for the moment on my screen, and then disappeared.
Yeah, I think that it's a problem of your laptop. Okay. Okay, we can do it this way. I will share your presentation, Jenana, and you just tell me when I have to go on with slides.
Pa znaš da mi treba abona.
Jenana, can you hear me?
Just a second. So now you can see me.
Oh, now yes.
Yeah.
Now you should be able to share your screen.
Now I will try to share my screen.
And now we can hear you even better.
Can you see my presentation now?
No. Okay, now it's working.
Now you can see.
Now we can see you. You can see the presentation.
So finally we are here. Now, sorry for all these technical issues and technical problems. I'm not on my computer now, so something is coming up like some Skype call. Sorry for that. So I will just try to present. So I'm Janana Dedic, I'm from Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina. I'm presenting Local Democracy Agency as one of LDAs in ALDA network. And here we have a role as a local partner and supporter to the city of Mostar as the official project partner to the Project STAR. So my role is to present the street art in the city of Mostar, but not only the street art in a form of murals, but more like art as a tool to tackle different topics in the city, in the divided city, post-conflict society, and to try to engage citizens, especially young people, in the city of Mostar. So the first thing that I will present is the Street Art Festival in the city of Mostar that is running for 8 years now, and the festival is actually the pure activism of informal group of the young people. It was started 2012 out of the youth center, and there was a group of few enthusiastic young people who actually come to the idea to start street festival. And now after 8 years we have international festival, and it is not just a festival for murals, but a different kind of the street art, including the music, the presentations, the workshops, and many different things that engaged actually local society and the community in a different ways. Also, it is becoming interesting not only for the city and organizations and the people in the city that are starting to support in many different ways the street art festival, but also it becomes very interesting to the tourists, because Mostar is a touristic city and Mostar is divided society, and there are these kind of tourists that are more interesting in about the real life and the real problem that city of Mostar faced as divided city, and how actually citizens faced and fight with this environment. So, as I mentioned, there are other organizations and institutions that are trying to support street art festival in many different ways. So, Local Democracy Agency is also trying to involve street art as a tool to tackle many different issues and the problems in the city, and trying to involve this art in different projects that we are implementing. So recently, for 2 last years, we are applying for the funds of the German embassy, and they are fund our projects, through which we actually get the artists from Germany, from Berlin. They come last year, and 2 last years they become a part of the street art festival. Sometimes they are artists and they paint some murals, as you can see, and sometimes they are musicians. They are participating in the different events of the street art festival. Then another interesting project is the Clink. The Clink is the project that actually dealing with the cultural heritage as a link of diversity in Europe. This is the project that LDA Mostar is the project leader, and it's still running. Actually, it's ending now at the end of June. There was a lot of interesting and very nice activities, but the one that is very much related to the street art and urban intervention was the pop-up gallery. And the pop-up gallery we organized in 9 partner cities. We actually had an open call for the young artists who perform different forms of art, but they are inspired by the cultural heritage. So we got wonderful things from the young people, and we organized 9 very nice events at the local level. But in the city of Mostar, apart from all interesting things that we got, we actually realized 2 murals of Alex Ashantic as a famous poet, and Emina, his beloved Emina, that was a part of one of his poems. So this was Emina was painted in the street where she lives, and Alex Ashantic in the street that actually has his name, the street of Alex Ashantic. So another project is Impact. It was all about inclusion, and we the municipality Vejle from Denmark was the partner leader, and we are the partner and this project is still running, and this was all about the integration of migrants in our societies, and some partners actually use the street art and the paintings, but this time we use the theater. So we realized several workshops with migrants, with the refugees that are beneficiaries of the refugee camp in Mostar. And right now the Youth Theater of Mostar preparing the theater play that will very soon be presented to the audience. So the next project is Space. Space regeneration through art by youth. Bassano Del Grappa was the project leader, and as far as I remember, few of you already mentioned that you were part of these projects. So we, as a City of Mostar and Local Democracy Agency Mostar, had the chance to send a group of 5 young artists from Bosnia and Herzegovina. They participated in this nice 5 days event. They actually up on their ideas, the mural in Bassano was created, and they made their own canvas that was brought back to the city of Mostar. And this mural was the part of the exhibition of the photographs piece made out of the murals of the street art festival in the city of Mostar. So this was part of the combination kind of street art of Mostar abroad. So the next project is the WOMCOM. This was Women's Communication for Solidarity, Erasmus Plus program in partnership with the project leader from Serbia. And this was again about art and engagement of women from the disadvantage, as a disadvantaged group. So within this project, we developed like a few interesting trainings for the young people, and then we realized that activities in the form, a different form of arts, like videos, like theater plays, and the street art. So we organized like 5 days in the island of Hvar in Croatia for young artists. They produced street art, the murals in Hvar, and every partner also produced the mural in their own city. So this is the mural we produced in the city of Mostar with the message, you don't have to play by the rules. And final conference was in the Mostar. Mostar Days of Forest is another interesting thing. This is actually Days of Forest is the festival organized in Croatia, in Zagreb, as a festival of architecture. And our Center for Architecture, Dialogue and Art, which is part of Local Democracy Agency of Mostar, set up this communication with the Days of Forest. And for the first time, we organized this festival in Mostar. This was 3 days of different kind of engagement and activism in the city, involvement different groups of students, children who had the chance to talk directly with the most famous world architects, who was actually also the lecturers in the presentations. So another project was the Balkan Regional Platform for Youth Participation and Dialogue that we implemented together with other LDAs and ALDE in the Balkans. So it was 4-year project with many different activities, but there are few very much related to the street art. So we had a youth fund during the project implementation, offered the opportunity to young people to finance their activities. So this is one Ashik Mostar. Ashik is the name, the word for a love, in traditional Bosnian language. So we treated the love by reading the poetry or the sightseeing of the heritage. And next one financed by the same project was Street Artura, urban interventions. Through this project, we actually oh my God, I have some terrible noise. Some child is crying.
The microphone.
Yeah. Okay, so this group of young people had opportunity to paint a few murals in the city out of that fund. And then another activity was given to the young people who was the youth correspondents, and they had the chance to visit another city and to see the culture and the cultural scene in that city and produce some stories out of that. And this was really interesting to see actually how the young people from another city see your own city and the culture of your own city. And another thing was My City, Intercultural City, also activity developed within the same project. And in the city of Mostar, we actually gave the chance to the group of the young people to think about the urban space, and they actually used the name of the streets to change. So they made postcards out of the beautiful photos of the city, and on the back side they put the message, and they named the street like the street of love, street of joy, street of sun, instead of the real names of the street, which becomes a real political issue in the city of Mostar, because it's still divided and conflict society. So also Caravan Next is the project that actually we were not the partner but the host of the wonderful festival, hosting the theater groups from all over the Europe. As you can see the list of the partners, and this was 5 days of the colorful party in the city. We organized the community theater performance in the street, parks, theater, city mall, and the different. This was really wonderful things implemented in the city, and people really enjoyed. Then educational touristic program is something that actually local democracy agency developed, not because we planned to do anything in tourism, but we are NGO dealing active for 15 years in the divided society, and this is touristic city, and very often we are in the position to explain to some group of tourists the situation in the city, and how we as a civil society organization deal with that. And then we use that opportunity to create this program, educational but also touristic one, to promote, to present and to promote the culture, the gastronomy, but by putting the tourist in the center of the story. So they cook their own meal, they create their own jewelry, they actually singing our traditional songs and dance. So it is always very much interesting for them.
Jenana, sorry if I'm interrupting you, but I have to kindly ask you to come to a conclusion because we are 20 minutes delay, and we need to share some question and answer, to give some space to question and answer, and then to conclude the meeting.
Okay, so I will finish with this slide. This is only about Center for Architecture, Dialogue and Art that we developed as a part of the Local Democracy Agency, and we try to use art and architecture as a tool to develop a dialogue in divided society, and there are like many different things developed through Center for Architecture, Dialogue and Art. So basically that's it. There are a few more projects, but more or less I think that you managed to understood what we are talking about, and thank you all for your time and patience for my technical problems.
Thank you, Jenana, for sharing your presentation and the projects Mostar is developing. So this was the last stop of our European tour through street art. It was really interesting and inspiring. So I would like, first of all, to thank you, all the speaker and project partnering, for this inspiring contribution. What I can say that it was amazing to having all of you and to have the possibility to talk to you, to raise this international debate around street art and urban generation and social inclusion. For sure, ALDA and all partners involved in STAR project, we will work at our best to reach STAR goals and bringing results alive, as well as to promote and to boost how can I say, unaware and realistic development and perception of street art, as Anna from Amsterdam in 2021 taught us today. If there are some questions, if someone would like to sharing opinion, make questions. There is a question for 2005-01, but it just left the meeting 10 minutes ago. If there is someone want to add something, or sharing opinions. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed this webinar, and this also
Sorry, Nadia. Can I say a few words?
Yes, of sure. Thank you.
Okay, just take advantage. I know we are all tired and we are getting late, but I'm very happy about this panoramic view of experiences and experiences located mainly in small towns or cities with not big experiences. Some of them are quite experienced, as we saw, but many are are making the first steps in the world of urban art, and I really like the enthusiastic mood. At the same time, I want to encourage more and more these small contexts, because in my experience, I really saw great projects with amazing relationships between the artist and the community in these small neighborhoods or villages or towns. There's a great potential in it, so we don't have to think that street art is something just about tourism in big cities. It is. We saw some examples of gentrification, but in small towns it's very powerful tool for to involve young people, to make elderly people more sensitive about some specific topic, and we got to be brave. I don't want to say rebels. Sometimes, yes, of course, why not? But be brave and try to front with using art to front some important topics, as we saw in some projects during this gallery presentation, and not falling into taboos, because during the COVID emergency, pandemic, I mean the quarantine, we saw many arts that were about isolation, but quite poor from an artistic point of view. And I really wish that this project and many others will be brave to front the current situation, the current emergency, and many other topics that are still important, like environment and migration. Well, to front this in a very creative way and original way, not just depicting people with wearing masks. I mean, that was like the leitmotif of 2 months of quarantine. It was very poor message from the visual artists, while there are many artists that are quite powerful and reflecting on the current situation. So be brave. Thank you.
Thank you, Mattia, for your intervention. Does anyone else want to add something else? Okay, so We are just come to the end of the meeting. I hope that you enjoyed the webinar. I also hope that this webinar has represented an occasion of networking and to get to know more about street art in Europe. I really thank you for joining us today. I know that it was a bit long webinar, but it was really important for us having all of you till the end. I would like to thank you from ALDA and from the whole START partnership. I will remind you that the mural for sharing question, consideration and opinions will be keep open even after this webinar. We will send you by email all START project contact, emails, and also website in case you want to share opinions, you want to share your contacts and making connection, or do you just want to be updated with news about news and events or about project activities. And also we will share you the mural link in order to keep the discussion alive. We will also inform you about other future webinar. So what else? Again, thank you for being here and participating. It was really a pleasure meeting all of you, at least virtually. Thank you to the speaker and to the amazing partnership of the Street Art Project. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you,
Take care.
Nadia. Thank
Bye,
you
guys.
all.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you for this experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for everything. Bye-bye.
Bye.